Hi guys, we're just hopping in. I'm not doing a
Oh,
starting stew. It's fine. I don't give a shit. Go ahead.
damn! Right in?
Yeah, I don't care.
I was unprepared.
Uh,
Uh, basically. Anyways, to continue what I was saying.
yeah.
They have five enemy types. They
Mm,
have the mindless zombies called the voteless.
yep.
The voteless are okay. Another important thing to say here. Starship Troopers.
Mm.
Take Troopers and make it mildly. The government system is called managed democracy, which is you take a BuzzFeed quiz and it votes for you.
Let's
It's
see.
a little silly. It's very
Oh,
silly.
it's Mox. Hi, Mox.
Oh, it mock.
Hello, Mox.
Uh, but that's the government system. It's
Dope,
funny.
Hyumbus.
Uh, but so people aren't counted as the in the government. They're counted as the vote they can give.
Mm.
The voteless are civilians that got mind controlled and like weird mutationed into part of the squids.
Interesting.
Think Mind Flare from D&D, how if you have the tadpole in you, you slowly turn into one. They do that.
Mm. I'm just gonna. I'm
So
gonna move you up here.
that's their main little put Crick on the ceiling. That would be hilarious. Uh but that's like their main unit you see everywhere because they decide that the correct amount of them at any point in time is like 73 and it sucks. It sucks so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like fighting them
That's fair.
because they put 73 of them. The other option or the other one that we see a ton of is the Overseer, which uh is a big armored enemy that has one of three weapons and an extra thing. We
Mm-hmm.
have the spear one, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a giant spear, but it also can shoot a single. Why did you turn me sideways?
I didn't mean to.
It is a giant plasma launcher as
Mm-hmm.
well. It sucks. It deals like half your HP if you get hit with it. And if they get close enough to melee you, it's a shit ton of melee range, so you can't really escape it easily. It immediately knocks you over and sends you flying. And because of how the game works, if you get knocked over and hit something and you're still within melee range, you
Mm-hmm.
don't have any amount of time to react to stand up and get away. Because getting knocked over makes you ragdoll. The
Ah.
ragdoll recovery puts you into a like it's not really a status.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a time thing where
Yep.
you can't do anything. So you get meleeed for over half your HP, ragdolled, knocked over, possibly still in melee range, and you can't do anything for about 3 seconds. I'm sure you put together, they probably swing faster than 3 seconds. They do. They just fucking combo you if you were anywhere within melee range after the first swing. Uh, Secondly, they have the flying overseer, exactly what it sounds like. They just put a jetpack on it,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of having a melee weapon built into the plasma launcher, it's now just a burst rifle. It sucks. They're annoying to hit. The main way you're meant to take them out is either a single high power headshot,
Mm-hmm.
which is difficult to hit on the flying ones because they're faster than any other variant,
Yeah.
or a ton of body shots, which is also annoying because they hold their rifle with two hands, so their arms block their chest. The only real way to take out those ones that I find the easiest is
Mm.
to take them out first with either blowing up their jetpack or just spend a mag and a half to mow them down. It's annoying. Then we have the Crescent Overseer. They just gave the Spear guy a mortar instead. It's a giant AoE explosion, but he doesn't have a melee attack. It sucks. I don't like him. Overseers suck. Next one that we will introduce, the Harvester. You know big three-legged things from Half-Life.
Mm-hmm.
They're that straight up, laser blast and everything. It's just the Striders from Half-Life 2. They suck just as bad. And if you get too close, they zap you with enough electrical output to just kill you. It sucks. Fourth enemy that they introduced semi recently was called the Interloper, is now called the Stingray. It's a strafing run. It's annoying, mainly because if you're not paying attention, it's hard to notice and it can insta kill you. It's finicky on the insta kill, but it has a chance to. The fifth enemy, and I hate this thing with all the hatred in my heart for the sheer reason of it is comical how many times I have been shot out of a back of a car and just turned into blue mist. It is called the Leviathan. It is a giant floating airship that does a slow firing near insta kill rocket. It is an insta kill if it hits you. It wasn't bad when they first introduced it because we were in the mega cities of Super Earth. Yes, Earth is just called Super Earth.
I do remember. I do know about Helldivers. The fact that they call it Super Earth.
Yes. Super Earth has mega cities, which is basically take the normal cities you would think of and expand them to be about double the size, hold about triple the people, and be like the main 7 locations on Earth. In those cities, it's giant skyscrapers. You could easily hide from the Leviathans. Now, they're just on open fields, basically. So I want you to imagine, if you will, a single shot, high damage rocket that can see you from anywhere and tell me how you're meant to hide from it to not get insta-killed. You'd have better luck hiding from a bear on concrete. It sucks. That's their 5 enemy... or no, I'm sorry. There's 6 enemy types. Wait. No, there's only 5. I miscounted. The Leviathan was 4th. The Harvester was 3rd. I counted the 3 different Overseer variants as 2 for some reason. Which doesn't make sense, because it's 1 enemy type with 3 different variants that I counted as 2 enemies. I'm not good with numbers right now. It is 2 a.m. But, okay. 5th enemy is the Flesh Mob. Which is basically, the Illuminate went, man, these voteless are very weak by themselves. I wonder if we could make a big, strong version of them by just shoving a bunch of them into one body. It didn't work exactly how they wanted, but it did come out stronger. It's like, I think lore-wise, about 30 voteless, but if you just took one of those, like, egg cube makers and just shoved them all into it. It's just one big-ass flesh mob.
Flesh mobs are creepy. I don't like fresh flesh creatures.
It has the same health as an elite unit 6-7 story tall bug.
Ew.
With armor on it.
I hate that.
It's gross. I'm assuming you looked it up?
No.
No?
Don't wanna right now.
It's not that bad. Let me grab you a... It sounds a lot worse. It looks like a pond skimmer if it hated you.
Oh, I hate pond skimmers.
Best way to describe it.
I mean, it's
like,
a bug, so
here.
of course I hate it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm gonna spoiler it so you don't have to look at it constantly, but I sent you an image of it.
Okay, cool.
That's the Bile Titan. That thing has 6,000 HP. Now, I bring this up for a very specific reason.
Buggy.
Yeah, it's gross. I bring this up for a specific reason. The flesh mob has the same health, but no weak spots, and spawns about 10 times as regularly. Because unlike the Bile Titan, which can only be called in through either A, being a mission objective, B, being a boss around a mission objective, or C, a direct call-in, flesh mobs can just be there. They count as a normal unit like the Voteless, but they have the same health as that thing, which is a main boss event. They suck to fight because they can't be stunned until next War Bond, which is their little, not battle pass. How do I upgrade system? War Bonds are basically, you can purchase them by either grinding in-game credits, because holy shit, a game made it so that you can get the real-life currency for free by just playing the game enough, which is incredible, but also incredibly rare. I don't think I know the last game that let you do that. No, there's technically two. There's this game in the finals, but I don't play the mode that gives you the real-life credits in the finals. But you can do that, and war bonds are something that you can buy for either $10 real-life money, or by grinding for, like, if you're just going for the currency, about an hour. Which is not a whole lot of time. But they give you new weapons, new armor, different modifications, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I guess an upgrade tree would be the best way to say it. But, next Warbond, they're adding a bunch of stuff, which can actually stop the
Tell me to stop. Tell me stop randomly.
What?
Tell me to stop, just randomly. Just decide when for me to stop.
Okay. Well, the things they're adding are a new assault rifle, which I'm hoping is medium pin, but if it's not, it does stun damage, which is great. Because there's not enough weapons that do stun damage. Also, stop. Secondly, they're adding a new pistol in the Superstore, which is their, like, real-life credit, buy a specific thing, that rotates daily. I don't know what the pistol does. People are assuming that you can change ammo types with it, because it has 3 little lights on the side. But we don't know what the pistol does. They're also adding, possibly, Team Kill Central, because you can kill your teammates in this, which is a little drone, which the drones are already notorious for obliterating your teammates. But they gave it a shock weapon, which shock weapons are unique in how they work in this game. Because you hear shock weapon, and you probably think, oh, it's a thing that does shock damage, but probably shoots like a normal gun. No! This game does it semi-realistically of it's a charge up, a blast, and then the lightning will hit something and connect to everything else around it. If you're close enough, that includes you. So now you have a drone that hangs out within 5 feet of you with that weapon attached to it. It's more than likely gonna get you killed, but I'm so excited because it's gonna be goofy as hell, and I love it. They're adding a shock grenade launcher, which is the first of its kind. It's the second support weapon that does direct arc damage. First one is the weapon they gave to the guard dog, which is the drone. And they're also adding a new grenade, which is a sticky grenade that just stuns, and in the video, they show it fully stopping a charging flesh mob, which there isn't a way to do that otherwise. So I'm going to be running the fuck out of that, and I'm going to be enjoying just seeing it run at me and sticking. It's called the G109 Urchin, So I'm just gonna enjoy throwing the urchin and sticking it into this thing and watching it go as it just gets shocked to hell. The only downside of this Warbond is the fact that it's meant to be cop-based. Cop-based as in the managed democracy version of it, which is, how do I put this? Saying that this managed democracy is basically just dictatorship is an understatement. They have a war bond called the Truth Enforcers.
Interesting.
Which is about what you think, considering the fact that the weapons are a shotgun that has armor-piercing flèche rounds and stun bullets, a mutation, or not mutation, they're called boosters, which are changes you can do in the mission, called Dead Sprint, which allows you to keep running at the cost of your health, a charge-up pistol that does explosive damage, and the armor, whose perk is called Unflinching, which just means you don't take flinch if you get hit. Which, honestly, kind of sucks, and it's sad because the armor is smooth as hell. You gotta look at this. You know what? I'm just gonna start streaming mine in case you want to throw it up in the corner.
Okay.
I don't know if you do, so otherwise you could just throw it up on your monitor and you can see me scroll through things, because I enjoy having a secondary, like, thing for it.
Fair enough, fair enough.
This is, like, the main chest piece for the light armor version of it. It's so smooth. And it sucks, because that passive is just horrible. It's just bad. Like, that's smooth. That's useless. Like, best armor passives... excuse me. What the meta says is the best armor passive would be either this armor's, which is, oh, you gain extra reload speed and ammo. This armor's, which is double your melee damage, and ergonomics are no longer a thing you need to worry about. Or, I think there's one down here that'll show it better. Yes, this. Fortified, which is you take less recoil and you have explosive resistance. A close second to this one is Engineering Kit, which does the same first part, but now you have 2 more grenades instead of less explosive damage. Actually, run that. But, yeah. The gimmick is quite obvious of managed democracy is more than likely just a dictatorship, and by more than likely, I mean it's directly stated to be basically a dictatorship. You vote by taking a BuzzFeed quiz. I can't state that enough.
That's so funny in my opinion, I'm sorry.
It's hilarious. It's goofy, though. And yeah, so next one's going to be the military police of that. So it's but it's not real life, so you get to be you get to enjoy the aesthetics of it.
Yippee.
I think of it like 40K. The police system in Warhammer 40K is hilarious. For the sheer reason of it's so horrible it can't not be funny. The police in 40K are called the Adeptus Orbites. I want you to think Judge Dredd, lower the weapon quality about 50%, and make them about 3 times as brutal. It sucks, objectively speaking. Just fully objectively speaking. It is horrible. The 40K police sucks. But they exist in a spot of being so bad that it wraps around into that's just goofy. because they're judge, jury, and executioner. However, that executioner bit isn't really used a lot objectively. They're just judge and jury. So if they walk up and they find out you do something illegal, they will just arrest you. And then they will go, okay, cool, you're waiting here till you get put on trial, and you will have a fair trial. Problem, that fair trial might take hundreds of years to come about, because you have to hire someone to read through the ever-expanding law book to find out if what you did was actually illegal in this case or not. And the reason that takes so long is because they don't use AI. So I want you to imagine you get arrested. You have to send a letter to a lawyer. This letter needs to go 4 planets away through hell, which has a chance to warp you into the future, into the past, slightly to the left in a parallel dimension, or just into the planet and have your ship explode. And then if your ship does explode, they let you send another letter. But you might not know that ship exploded until 50 years down the line when they find out the paperwork of it needing to go there to send the letter to that lawyer. And then realizing it never went. And man, that's around the same time that this ship appeared in our Dead Sea and then snapped in half from the force of it being half buried in the soil and being crushed by every micrometer of, soil entering its atoms. So it takes a while. And it's so goofy. Like, there's a quote, I don't remember the entire thing, but there's a quote from an Adeptus Arbites, which is like, you're guilty, and if it turns out you're not guilty of this, and you're guilty, and I know you're guilty, because if you're not, the Emperor will make it so that this bullet doesn't kill you and possibly misses. But then you'll be guilty anyway of wasting my fucking ammo. And, like, that's horrible. That's horrible, objectively speaking. But God, that's goofy.
What the fuck is happening in my game right now? What the fuck?
No clue. I don't know why you suddenly have Shadow of the Colossus Dogs. Why does it have hard eyes? Are you going to do Ankith? Or you're just going to slam them into an egg?
Oh my god.
You aren't just doing Ankith! I feel like it's both smashing into the egg and doing Ankith.
What the fuck?
Anyways, time for me to go suffer in this fucking game. I love this game. It's the worst. It's the exact opposite of, this game sucks, it's great. Or, this game sucks, it's my favorite. This game's awesome, I fucking hate it. Worst part is I don't even hate this game. I hate, in particular, the squids. And it sucks, because the squids have been the MO for a while now. Which, like, isn't the biggest issue, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just, I don't want to fight the squids.
Valid.
I prefer the other factions. Just do that, because I'll have that. That would also work. Do that, because I have that to deal with the chat. Right. I want to go with... No, I kind of like this one. But I'm excited for the next War Bond. It's gonna be goofy, I get the feeling. Off to fight the squids I go. Oh, I should have taken the... Damn. I just realized because I opened up YouTube at the wrong moment and was immediately hit with the knowledge again that 40k knights exist, which it's not knight in the way that you're thinking. It's spelt the same, but 40k knights are multiple stories tall and basically they're war mechs. That's what they are. They started out as like, oh, they're giant mech suits to help us cut down large amounts of trees so we can build this world faster, haha. And then it turned into, hey, we're being attacked by demons, and that thing's got a giant chainsaw for an arm. And people did exactly what you think they did and turned the giant chainsaw mech into a war mech.
Of course. Because why wouldn't
As one does.
As one does. Why wouldn't you? Clearly.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? But they did that. And then I remembered knights are the baby version of titans. Which titans are strange. Because knights, you need one person trained to pilot them, and they can run on their own. Titans, you need a crew of at least 6 people, including one person put into fluid that will keep them alive as the Titan attempts to eat their brain.
Yippee?
Because despite not allowing AI in the Imperium of Man, they have things called machine spirits, which are basically just hyper-advanced AI. But they never call it that. And calling it that would be heresy.
Heresy.
Heresy. So of course they're not going to call it that. But, oh no, I'm being swarmed suddenly. But, so that's what machine spirits are basically just hyper-advanced AI. And, the machine spirit in Titans is a particularly strong one, and by strong, I mean it just hates the person piloting it a lot. Well, you just watch me get murdered by a flesh mob, and you can see why they're annoying. I just couldn't do anything against it as it ran at me in a straight line. But so it just particularly hates existing as a giant war mech because it wanted to be so much more. And then they went, man, wanna know what this war mech needs? It needs a church on top of it. And so they put a giant church on top of it. Which is hella ironic because the main guy who was in charge of the Imperium for a while really didn't like religion and was like, hey, I'm not a god, despite being over 15 feet tall in glowing gold armor with a giant flaming sword and seemingly able to just do magic at will. Yeah, he kind of died and people immediately went, that's a god. That's gotta be a god. What else do you do? I want you to explain to me how Jimmy Space himself, who does magic at will, is in glowing gold armor and massive to normal people. It's kind of hinted at that him being massive is a trick of his magic, because one of his sons makes mention of it being strange how everyone's calling him super big and like tall and just built like a brick wall when he just saw him as a normal guy.
Ah, yeah.
So, people were like, oh my god, he's giant and massive and such a strong and good leader. And he's like, I'm not a god. And then people were like, okay. And then he died and was sending out a massive fucking space beam that allowed them to traverse through hell easier. So people just went, yeah, no, that's a god. That's gotta be a god. And so they built the church on top of the giant war machine to worship the god who said he wasn't a god. And in fact, when one of his sons was spreading the word that he was a god, went to that son's homeworld, basically went to the Jerusalem of that homeworld, burnt it to the ground, and had his other sons kill all the people in his churches.
Jesus Christ. That's a bit.
The emperor was not a good dad. He was a horrible dad, including, imagine if you will, one of his sons got kidnapped and sold, or all of them got spread around and technically kidnapped. One of them got sent to a planet where he was turned into a gladiator fighter. And then when he was going to be forced to fight his adoptive dad, he said, "Fuck you, no." And so they knocked him out, put an old Earth like machine in his head that made it so that every emotion other than pure, unbridled, blinding rage caused him physical pain.
Oh.
And so when his dad came up and he was like, "I'm not killing my dad," the pain got so bad he blacked out, woke up, and his dad was dead and his blood was on his hands.
Oh.
And then Emperor showed up, was like, "Hey, you're my son. I'm taking you with me." And this son went, "No, I got people here. We're all still gladiatorial slaves. We're going to fight until we die." They did that. They got cornered on top of a mountain. And then Mr. Jimmy Space himself rocked up and was like, "Man, I can't really have my son die here." And warped only the son onto his ship and then sat the ship over the mountain so that the son could watch all of his friends slowly die as they thought that he just abandoned them.
Wow.
Horrible dad. Cannot explain this enough. Horrible dad. Like 90% of Warhammer 40k would not have happened if he was just a better dad.
Damn.
It's, yeah. And then, like, okay, it is a little, like, funny how the entire bit of 40k is no one's a good guy. Because the people that were the good guys, people complained about them not being evil enough. And so they went from just the naive upstart in a world full of people who hate each other and want each other dead, trying to unite all of them under one, like, service, into brainwashing, manipulative amphibians that are just as xenophobic as the rest of everything in that universe. But they happen to be xenophobic in a way of, "Oh, you're not part of the Tau, aka the, like, original race that made it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not as good as the rest of us, and you're just gonna be cannon fodder."
Damn.
So that happened, and I kind of wish they didn't do that, because don't get me wrong, I love current Tau and how it is, like, they're naive in wanting to unite everything, but they're not stupid in thinking they can do it with just words.
Mm-hmm.
Will they try with just words? With certain races, yeah. But there is also, God dang. There we go. Like, they won't try and talk to things that won't talk back to them. Like, for example, when they first met humanity, their first interaction with them was the Chaos Space Marines, which are, the big dudes in armor that went evil. And so, as you can assume, didn't go well for them. And so then, when they met the normal Space Marines, they were like, "Oh, we can't talk to these ones. They kind of took our guys and made drugs out of them." Not a joke. That's a thing that happens in lore. There's just a band of Chaos Space Marines that will take prisoners, keep them alive, just to make drugs out of their adrenaline glands.
Oh my god.
It's crazy, some of the shit the Chaos Space Marines do. And that's like the light version of it. That faction is bad. But so, and then they found out, oh wait, these are different. We can talk to these ones. And so they won't attempt to convince the Space Marines to join their side because they took one prisoner, tried convincing it to join them, and the best way to put it is the amount of will a Space Marine has is enough to make it so that they can physically stop their heart at will if they think hard enough about it. This is important because when they took one prisoner and tried doing the brainwashing thing to get it onto their side, it didn't work. And so they're like, okay, fine, we're just gonna get into your head and find out everything we can. And this particular Space Marine went, man, that's funny. My will be done in his name, and stopped his heart and killed all the people who were digging in his brain.
Oh my.
Because the sheer presence of stopping his own heart also stopped theirs. Which is insane. Like, frankly, like Batman levels of willpower, I guess. I can't get into this area to do the fucking objective because there's so many flesh mobs. But yeah, frankly, insane amount of will. And they just did that casually. So then they realized off that one interaction, man, these things aren't like soldiers that we can talk to. These are just weapons of war. They are just tools. They are built to be tools. They are not built to talk to people and find out things. That's left to this class of human. And so they will talk to those ones and sometimes serve with them. Most of the time serve like alongside ? The certain type. I say along. Along doesn't sound right, although, because are you technically working with someone if you both hate each other, like, viciously, but you realize that if you don't work together, the bug will eat you, them, and all your men, women, and children that you might have as soldiers? Yes, the children are included in soldiers.
Oof.
Yeah, in 40k, you are trained from age 7 and up to wield a weapon if you are going into the Guard, which is a large portion of the planets you go into the Guard. So a large portion of planets, 7 and up, you are just a child soldier. It's not good. 40k sucks. 40k sucks, objectively speaking. Which is hella ironic, because it's also, like... It's very, like... spectrum inclusive for humanity. It just so happens that if you're anything other than human, humanity fucking hates you. Like, literally, the best way to word it is humanity has found out hate is a resource that they can divide, and have realized that this divided resource is finite, and they cannot waste it on each other. So humans might have vendettas against each other, but direct hate from, like, one race to another, it doesn't exist. If you hate, like, people from this place, it's because they did something to you directly. It's not because you just hate them and were raised that way. Which is, again, super ironic. Racism doesn't exist unless you're not part of the race. Like, as a whole. It's crazy. It's... Oh, that's a... Oh no, I have walked the wrong direction. I don't want to be over there. Okay. But then we have people like, there are the Necrons, who aren't exactly racist, they're just old robots who used to rule the galaxy, and then went, man, I need a fucking nap. So they went to take a nap, and when they woke up, they suddenly remembered that they're all robots, and they didn't start out as robots. that they all hated the guy who made them, or not all. There was a large majority of them who hated the guy who made them robots. Fair enough. And then went, wait a minute. These motherfuckers are on our lawns, and just started to wage war. They are Egyptian grandpa robots who aren't exactly mad at you for existing, but they are mad at you for existing on the planet they went to sleep on. There's also a specific Necron that I fucking adore. His name is Trazen the Infinite. I want you to take the most, like, insane collector you can imagine, right? Like, this motherfucker pays $90,000 for a super rare, like, maybe one-of-a-kind Lego figure kind of crazy collector.
Oh, damn.
Make him immortal and give him the ability to trap actual just segments of time in a Pokeball.
Oh, no.
That's Trazen. It's great. I love the guy. He's insane, and it's done amazingly. He also has, like, what the hell killed me? He also has that, like, semi, you know those things where it's like, hey, these two people logically hate each other, but everyone immediately drew them as gay lovers?
Sorry.
He has a situation like that with someone called Orican the Diviner, who is someone who Trazen can trap things in time, right? Orican has the ability to rewind time. So, they, because Necrons are immortal robots, there was a court scene, straight up a court scene, like a court investigation of Orican, or of Trazen doing something, and then, like, making a compelling argument, as to why he's actually innocent. And then Orican would just go back in time until he said the right things to make the court believe the opposite. So Orican just fucking quick saved every skill check in that court scene. And it's hilarious. This happened in a book called The Infinite and the Divine, because the names are Trazen the Infinite and Orican the Diviner. So the Infinite and the Divine, it's just their names shortened. And the best way to describe the rest of the book is just a buddy cop movie. They hate each other, physically hate each other, with a passion hot enough to literally kill stars. And the rest of the book is just them hanging out together and basically solving crimes. It's great. The Necrons are great. I love the Necrons. Oh, another thing Trazen did was there was this specific Inquisitor, which is a think FBI, but on steroids, and if they had the ability to walk up and said, the president said you're a criminal, you're just getting tortured.
Wow, damn,
Because there is straight up a thing of, if an Inquisitor says you are guilty of something, it doesn't matter if you were when they said you were. You now are. The moment they say it, it becomes true. If they think you are guilty of something, you are guilty of it, and they will torture you until they find out why you're guilty of it. God damn. I'm still being hunted by a horde. So, as you can assume, Inquisitors are not the most understanding of people in the world. And there was a specific Inquisitor who hated treason quite a bit, including storming his library of infinite things and attempting to kill him. However, he survived, and because he's a eccentric theater kid of a collector, sent her a letter that was like, hey, I can't believe you knew I was missing this one specific regiment type for my collection. Thank you. Because you obviously have such a great mind like myself, I've sent you a puzzle cube. It's an infinite labyrinth that you'll have to find the exit out of the moment you stop reading this letter. Congrats! I hope we meet again.
Oh my god.
Would it be funnier to know that that person was a playable character for a while and had that maze as a thing she could use? So she got out.
It is very cute, Yuki, I agree.
It's adorable.
No, you are.
Me? What do you mean? What?
Yuki said Crick sounds so happy when she gets to rant about stuff. It's pretty cute. And I'm like, yeah, that is true. That is true.
I
yes.
enjoy ranting.
We love listening to it. Like, legit.
But, oh god, I need to get out of here. I am heavily surrounded. But, yeah, so that Inquisitor had that as an option. That was an item she could use, and it was very funny. Oh, I'm gonna tell you about another one of my favorite people of the Imperium. Specifically, Caiaphas Cain, who is basically imposter syndrome if it was just one guy. Because he is either actually the luckiest man in all of 40k, or is one of the most capable people in all of 40k, but refuses to believe that. For example, the main one I'm going to point out directly is there was a moment where Caiaphas Cain is an Inquisitor, so he's one of the people who can just say you're guilty of something and kill you for it, because he said it is true. But he was very different, because unlike most other Inquisitors, he did not believe he was deserving of that power in the slightest, and he wanted a desk job. However, or no, he wasn't an Inquisitor, he was a Commissar. Sorry, he was a Commissar. Commissars are, let's say they match where they got the name very well.
Where did they get the name?
The Russian Commissars, who were known to shoot deserters as they were running away.
Ah.
The Imperium Commissars are, I wouldn't say worse, because they basically do the same thing, except now, instead of just shooting deserters, they also shoot you if you hesitate a little too long on complying with an order.
Ah.
With a gun that, unlike real life, where the bullet would enter you, and it would be a small exit hole and you just die. It is a gun that shoots basically a Red Bull can that will penetrate into you and then explode. So he's shooting C4 grenades into you. Just casually, as a pistol. That's their main weapon besides a sword.
I see.
So he was one of these. He did not believe he was deserving of that power. And in fact, did not believe he deserved any of the praise he was getting while he was doing, frankly, inhuman things. So demons are a thing that just exist in 40k.
Mm-mm.
They are beings of emotion and, like, created out of pure emotion. There is a specific type of demon called cornate demons, who are demons who are built for melee fighting and are insanely powerful. Kaivis Kane got cornered by one and proceeded to match it in sword fighting for multiple long moments until the guardsmen around him noticed that he was holding his own against the demon and started cheering his name. His name, while spelt differently, is said the exact same as the Eldar, aka the elf, god of war. So this random demon thought that these guardsmen were cheering on an embodiment of the Eldar god of war. And realized, oh fuck, I might be outclassed here. Until Kane's wonderful sidekick, a wonderful man known as Jurgen, or Jurgen. I'm not sure how you say it. I've heard it pronounced both ways. He's a guardsman from a snow planet who is known to stink like nothing you would believe. Because he's from a snow planet, consistently keep just food in his pockets. Because the snow planet he's from is so cold, it acts like a freezer, and when he would do that, it wouldn't degrade at all. Like, 0 chance of it growing mold, kind of thing. So he was known to do that. He also was very proficient in a gun known as the Melt-A-Gun, which is take a shotgun, but instead of buckshot or any other normal round, it shoots superheated plasma in a wave that just evaporates whatever it hits. It superheats whatever it makes contact with to just get rid of it. Jurgen walked up and blasted this demon in half with it, and Kane thanked him. Also, it's kind of thought that Kane maybe took Jurgen as his sidekick, because Kane doesn't want to be anywhere near any sort of front line or surrounded by anyone who would call him a hero. So he got the most disgusting man he could think of to be his sidekick. Which, like, checks out. But, so it's... That's what people... That's only one of the things he did. He's also, Jurgen in of himself is kind of an insane being. Because, for example, Jurgen is such a good shot that Kane was like, hey, I need you to take out this thing. Preferably quickly, and preferably with a whole lot of excessive force. So if you could, shoot the gas tank so it explodes. And Jurgen was like, yeah, I gotcha. Proceeded to shoot at the gas tank. And it seemed like it missed because there wasn't a big explosion. So Kane was like, okay, I understand, Jurgen. No one's perfect. Please take the shot again so it would connect. And Jurgen went, oh, I didn't miss. And Kane went, huh? And Jurgen went, I didn't miss. I hit the valve, and I'm waiting for the air inside that propane tank to, or the air around it to be filled with it, so my next last shot makes the whole area explode. And Kane went, you're a fucking genius. This is why I bring you along. And the next shot did exactly that. 40K is a very silly universe, because it's... I would just like to point out that the 40K universe is known as the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. And it is called that because it's just horrible. It's just bad. For example, you remember those Chaos Space Marines I mentioned earlier? There is a specific type of them, different from the ones who make drugs out of your adrenal glands, called the Night Lords, who are... Take the edgiest edgelord you can, okay? Think of that. Give him superhuman strength. Make him about 10 times worse because he's just a gangster who got out of prison and then given the superpowers. and then make them canonically have their leader have a room of still barely living people who he turned into a floor, the wall, and the ceiling. It's called the Scream Room because you step in it and it screams.
Ew.
It's horrible. It's gross.
That's why? Is
Yeah,
it like that? That's horrible.
Why? You just did. Technically, it's thought that so that leader could see into the future, but it's thought he could only see the worst possible future. So he saw his death, constantly, forever, every time he slept. His death was him older, much older, in superpowered armor, incredibly strong, but also, his dad sent an assassin to kill him. So I want you to imagine being like 9 years old on a planet with no sun, full of the worst people imaginable because there isn't any police force here. So it's just gangsters, murderers, the mafia, and everything else you could get away with if it was just the worst people on a planet with no police supervision. And have the 9-year-old who can see the future of his dad sending an assassin to kill him live there and grow up there. You'd come out fucked up. You'd come out really fucked up. The kind of funny thing is, though, it's funny because it's so tragic. The one time he didn't see the absolute worst future was there was this little kid that had done a crime. And this was at the point where he was older. And he had solved the crime issue of his planet by making every crime punishable by death. Oh, you jaywalked? He punches you so hard your skeleton separates from your body, explodes, re-enters like shrapnel, and then the rest of you liquefies.
What the fuck?
That's not actually something that happens, but it's basically that bad. And so that's just a thing that happened. And he sees this little kid who did a crime. And, of course, he sees the future just barely. And this is the one time he doesn't see the worst. He sees two separate ones. He sees one where he forgives the kid. The kid grows up as a mentor, or like as someone that he mentors, and eventually as the kid grows older, he learns things from the kid as an adult now because he won't age as fast. And basically the kid becomes while younger than him by a lot, father figure to him way down the line. Or he sees the kid shank him, get away from him, and basically become the worst mob boss in all of the planet's history. Now this guy doesn't want to take any chances. So he kills the kid. Horrible. Horrible. But what makes it even more tragic is after he does it, he realizes the knife is nowhere near the body. There was no way for the kid to have been able to do it. But then he goes, oh well, it was better safe than sorry.
My man's got some true in there.
Yeah. Putting it lightly, yeah.
My man's needs some help.
He only gets worse though. For example, so there was another son named Vulcan. Imagine the sweetest teddy bear you can. This man is taller than any of the other sons, built like a shit brick house, and can make you a shit brick house. Because he is the best blacksmith in the entirety of the Imperium. Because when all the sons got separated, he got sent to a smithing planet. And he grew up there, But there was this thing that would happen every once in a while, where this raiding party would come in, kidnap people, and take them away as slaves. And so the people on the planet couldn't fight back because, turns out, this raiding party of slavers was the Dark Elves, or the Dark Eldar, who, you know the people who make drugs out of your adrenal glands?
Yeah.
These are the people who looked at that and went, damn, I'm surprised we didn't do that sooner. Basically, the Eldar, murder fucked a god into existence that ate 90% of their souls.
Damn.
And the Dark Eldar went, well, we don't want to be taken by them. And we noticed if we keep doing what we're doing, this god kind of goes, damn, all right, do it again, and leaves them alone.
Do it again. Go on.
Do it again. I like seeing it. Show me some more pizzazz next time. It was a wonderful show. But that's what they noticed. And so they went... And so they would consistently take slaves and just turn them basically into anti-god batteries. Of just doing the worst torture you could think of and then some. And they're just horrible. They're absolutely horrible. But it was those people would show up and take people from this planet. Now Vulcan, the sweetest boy, when the moment he was around when one of these raiding parties happened, he went, I'm not letting anyone be taken. You all stay in here. I'll be back. And he walked out there by himself with just 2 smithing hammers. And a couple days later, walked out and said, they won't be back. We're all right now. AKA, my man walked up with 2 smithing hammers and beat the bricks off these people so hard that they ran away and refused to come back. And so, you know the guy that I mentioned before, the only see the worst possible future?
Yeah.
Obviously, he's traitor. He went traitor nearly immediately. It took 0 convincing to turn that man traitor. The guy walked up and went, hey, I have a plan where we can make Dad not be the leader, because he turns out I had a vision of him being the absolute worst. And before he could say the absolute worst, this guy heard a vision and went, I'm in. He heard get rid of Dad and a vision and went, yeah, this checks out. But this guy took Vulcan, the sweetest boy, and trapped him in a infinite maze made just to torture him for a while after doing a whole bunch of other extremely fucked up things to him. Like, including, how do I put this? Vulcan really cares about the human population of the Imperium. The one who can see the only bad future, his name is Conrad Kurz. Kurz does not. Unsurprising, I feel, makes drugs out of adrenal glands, or one of his brothers does. He made the screaming room. Conrad Kurz, did a bunch of torturous things to Vulcan, including trapping him in a, mech that he can't control, but forced him to watch this mech use Vulcan's hands to kill a bunch of civilians.
Oh.
Well, Vulcan happened to have a funny little hammer. This funny little hammer had a teleporter in it. And so Conrad put the hammer in the middle of this constantly changing near infinite labyrinth and put Vulcan in and was like, yeah, if you can get your hammer, you can leave. Vulcan got through it, picked up the hammer, and went to teleport away. And Conrad appeared and went, ha, you fucking idiot. You thought I'd let you get away that easy? You thought? No, that thing's tied to my fucking heartbeat. You have to kill me in order to teleport. And Vulcan went, man, you're right. I can't use the teleporter in my hammer. But you're forgetting something really important. It's a teleporter. But it is also a hammer. And proceeded to beat the life out of Conrad. Nearly killing the guy. He just went, you're forgetting it's also a hammer. And smacked him so hard, the first hit sent him into the shield of the room that he was trapped in. And nearly broke the shield on contact.
Funny.
It's hilarious. He then continued to beat him until Conrad was so close to death that the portal activated and he teleported. However, all the torture really got to Vulcan. He was just really good at hiding it. So he teleported to one of the other planets that one of the Loyalist brothers had.
Strong. Yeah.
Incredibly. I cannot explain how strong Vulcan is. That's like one of the weaker ones. In order of strength, it's the guy who has the machine in his head that makes it so any other emotion hurts him except anger. Vulcan. And that guy, the first guy turned into a demon. So he's like triple the strength now. But Vulcan is something called a perpetual, which is basically, think Deadpool healing factor, except slightly better. Because it's, if you die, there can be literally nothing of you left. You will reform eventually. This is important, because Vulcan teleported to his brother's planet, but because he was very hasty with it, he didn't have like, oh, I want to be on the ground. I want to be near my brother. He teleported into his brother's backyard. About how high is it up till you pass the atmosphere? Hang on. Yeah, so about 30 miles, or like very low orbit being sucked into the planet kind of thing. And burnt to a crisp on re-entry, and became a meteor that hit his brother's backyard. And then reawoke and was just crying from all the stuff that had happened to him. Which, don't blame the guy. Do not blame the guy. Some of the stuff he went through was insane. Including, Conrad really wanted to kill Vulcan, and found out he couldn't. So, when he was trying to think of a way to kill Vulcan, he just went, man, fuck it, strip him naked and throw him out the airlock. That's one of the more tame things that happened to him, is he just spaced the guy. There's a bunch of stuff he did to Vulcan that I do not blame Vulcan for crying in the slightest. But so he wakes up crying, and then his brother's like, hey, I understand what you went through is horrible. We need you at your best because we are fighting for Dad. And Vulcan went, fuck, you're right, okay, and fully locked in, and went and beat the bricks off more traitors. Vulcan went, damn, all right, you're right. I'm good for a while. I really needed that cry. I'm sorry. I'm good for a little bit now. And then went and released all the anger Conrad had given him on all of Conrad's sons. They did not last long. I need you to imagine. You know the saying, beware the anger of a calm man?
Yes.
Vulcan is that embodied. He is the calmest, nicest guy. Like, you can walk up to him, tell him all of your issues, and he'd go, I'm sorry, I don't know how that feels to you. Would you like to come over and talk more, and I'll get you a nice blanket, a nice drink, I'll even home make you a meal.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, crunchy boy!
Yes, the way.
Yes, way.
Crunchy.
Crunchy. But that's what he does. That's Vulcan embodied. He is the friend you want most when you're going through it. However, he is also the friend of, oh, this random person fucked with my friend. I'm going to make this person wish that they never even looked at them. Kind of anger. For example, there was another moment. It's a moment that Vulcan heavily regrets because he let the anger get the best of him, and it was the one time the anger got the best of him. There was a moment where there was an Eldar attack on a human planet. Not Dark Eldar, just normal Eldar. But they found out that there were these machines fighting them. They're like, weird, we don't remember the Eldar ever having machines. That's strange. I wonder what that is. And then they found out the reason these machines are fighting them is because the Eldar are using human civilians to pilot these things, and it's the same thing that happened to Vulcan, where they fully see it, can fully feel everything, but can't control their bodies.
Damn.
This is before it happened to Vulcan, but Vulcan was very mad about this and proceeded to kill a lot of the Eldar. And then when they started surrendering, Vulcan was like overlooking the surrender and saw a younger Eldar attempt to attack his brother, who he was helping with this defense. It attempted to attack his brother with a knife. The anger got the best of him, and that younger Eldar didn't survive. And it is the one time the anger got the best of Vulcan, and he has regretted it since that day. It was the combined anger of seeing what they were doing to the civilians, how they were treating the civilians, and the fact that it tried attacking his brother. All in all, it got the best of him. The one time it happened and he regrets it heavily. I fucking love Vulcan. He's the leader of the Salamanders. All the Salamanders are like this. They're great. They're all the nicest people in the Imperium. Or not in the Imperium. They're the nicest Space Marines in the Imperium, which isn't a hard bar to beat. Especially because we can look slightly to the right and see the Marines Malevolent, who, how do I put this? The Salamanders will give you a nice blanket, give you a nice cup of tea, and let you sit for a while. The Marines Malevolent will see you reach for a blanket, and if you are at all meant to be doing something else that is helping the Imperium, will shoot you for disobey, or not, I'm forgetting the name, or the word. Subordination, that's the word. They'll just shoot you for subordination, because you reached for a blanket when you were meant to be defending a line. The Marines Malevolent suck. They will see people as a nuisance, and like they see main people as a nuisance and a statistic to be used and a weapon or a tool to be thrown to the masses. Including to the point of if there are any injured, they'll just kill the injured if it comes down to it. But one of my favorite moments of the Marines Malevolent is there was one who was meant to be defending a injured tent, like a tent of injured guardsmen, that he wasn't, because he couldn't give a shit about the injured. And so when they got attacked, the attack ended. He walked in, saw the like field nurse there having survived. She pulled out a las pistol, shot him in the helmet, and he was about to kill her, and then another one of the Marines Malevolent, before he could do anything, rocked up, punched the guy so hard his helmet nearly came off, and went, "You were meant to be defending this. You will not strike back against her. You fucked up." And then he looked at the nurse and said, "However, don't do that again." You get the one. That's it. Do it again. I'll kill you. And then made his brother leave. That one of my favorite moments. Oh no, there's another favorite moment of mine with the Marines Malevolent, which also involves the Salamanders. The Salamanders obviously really care about people, right? The Marines Malevolent don't. So there was a not a chapter leader. There was a regiment leader of the Marines Malevolent who had just gotten a bunch of civilians killed to basically make them a trap for a small portion of the enemy. Like, a negligible amount of the enemy. But he was like, these civilians are basically worth one bomb, so I'm gonna use these civilians to attract that small group to kill them with the bomb. It works out. The Salamanders did not agree. They did not agree enough that as the Marine Malevolent was taking off his armor to rest for the night, the chapter master, which is the big head guy behind the Primarch himself, which is Vulcan, so one step down from Vulcan, walked into the room and said, I heard what you did to the civilians. I do not enjoy what you did to the civilians. I don't care what your excuse is. I don't care why you think it was worth it. I'm going to hit you very hard. Put your gauntlets back on.
Put your gauntlets
and then
back
beat the
on.
bricks off the guy.
He walked up.
Back
on is
walked up.
Wild.
Yeah, walked up, seeing this guy like taking off all of his armor, and was like, "Put that shit back on. I'm running your fade." And then did. The Salamanders are great. One of my other favorite factions. The reason I just reminded of this, I'm sorry, ADHD is kicking in. My hyperfixation has been tapped into, and I am remembering a bunch of different things all at once. I mentioned the Dark Eldar earlier, right? And you know how I mentioned that they have fucking anti excess god batteries where they just make torture victims into things to get rid of the god that wants to eat their souls. Well, there was another faction of Space Marines called the Space Sharks. They are incredibly cool. They have oh fuck, I can't remember the name of that. Like, fuck, how do you say that? Hang on. I can't remember the name, but it's like the not tribal, the like, you know, like the native people to like Australia and Hawaii, how they have that like lined tattoos with all the shark teeth and how the tattoos tell a story and all that. Because I can't remember the name of it. It's like, I think. Yes, New Zealand. The natives of New Zealand. My mistake. Is that how you say it? Yeah, I'm not sure, because that's an AI voice. Okay, I'm gonna assume it's Maori, unless I'm told differently. But they have, like, that vibe to them, where it's not tribal, but I don't know how else to say it. They have that, like, tattoo Maori styled like whole vibe to them, including you know how I said that the Emperor could do magic at will? That is because he is something called a Psyker, which is basically a space wizard. The space wizards for the Space Sharks have a specific spell they can do, which is they will hold out their hand and think really hard about wanting that one guy dead. And out of the floor beneath them, a full shark mouth will rise up and eat the guy and drag him into the warp, which is hell.
Wow.
So, imagine if you will, you're existing. You pissed off the wrong super soldier, and he holds out his hand, and now a shark mouth has dragged you into hell and is eating you alive. That's what it did. It's crazy. But they got that whole vibe to them, and it's... The reason I like them, or the reason I'm bringing them up is, Yuki, it's spelled not CH, it's just K. It's Psyker. It's weird. But the reason I bring them up along with the Dark Eldar is because they managed to take one captive. And now the Dark Eldar are entirely reliant on the emotional spectrum. What the fuck? Who are you? You dare show up into Sky's fucking channel and expect to sell bots?
Get your ass the fuck
Get
out.
out! Someone call the space wizard. Eat this man with a shark.
Exactly, yes.
But they captured a Dark Eldar. And the Dark Eldar are incredibly reliant on emotions to exist. Because the Eldar as a entire existence are a incredibly emotion-based people. They have the strongest psychic abilities in the universe because of how in tune they are with emotions. Including, remember how I said 90% of them got eaten? Well, a lot of that 90% was the warriors, who were trained from birth to be able to deal with the emotional stress of fighting wars.
Yeah.
The rest of them weren't. So the rest of them had to slowly be trained over time to don something called a war mask, which is basically a second personality to take on all the emotions of the war. And then once they are calm and away from the fight, they can slip out of it and be their normal self again. But the Dark Eldar are even more so in tune with their emotions, because if they aren't, including not using psychic abilities, the god they murder fucked into existence will just slowly take their hand, grab the Dark Eldar by the throat like it's a cartoon, and drag them into hell to be tortured forever.
Interesting.
And so the Space Sharks captured one, and was like, we're gonna torture you to get information we need out of you. And the Dark Eldar was like, oh, what the fuck are you gonna do? I bet all the things you normally do for torture, I would say are foreplay. Haha. And so what they did is they put this man in a perfectly dark room and opened the shutters to the window in the room so he could stare out into space. However, they perfectly positioned the ship.
Yeah.
So that staring out into space, there was not even a star in the distance visible.
Oh no.
So this heavily emotion-based entity was locked in a dead silent room. The window open, staring at literally nothing. The only interaction he had with the outside was they barely, I'm talking like just enough times so that he wouldn't die, would bring in food and set it within his reach, not look at him, not talk to him, barely even acknowledge his existence except for setting the food close enough for him to eat, and then would leave. It took him 3 weeks before he was like, please, I'll tell you fucking anything. Just give me something. And then they got the information they needed. But, that's something they did. Another thing that I really like about them is there was another interaction where the Space Sharks are from an unknown founding, which means they don't know what Primarch they are. However, they are what people assume is what's called a Chimera gene seed, which is, yeah, we took a couple of the of our god's sons, like DNA, put this piece, and that piece together and made it one thing. And the reason they think that is because they are incredibly brutal. Not brutal as in the Night Lords, which is Conrad's kids, which are the, murder gangsters from Death Planet.
Mm-mm.
They are brutal like the son who had the machine put in his head to where he can't feel anything other than anger. Because a lot of the kids also did that. I don't know how to tell you this. A lot of the kids were like, man, our dad hates us, and we don't know why. And it's because our dad's dad, doesn't fucking love him. Straight up, I'm 90% sure, if the Emperor cared a little bit more about his kids and was like, yeah, I saved my son and all of his friends, and also have been actively searching for a way to take the pain wires out of his brain, Angron would have turned out better. Angron's the angry one. Who would have guessed? But if he was just a little bit better of a dad, it would have been so much easier for all of humanity. But they're about as brutal as those guys. They're incredibly stealthy, like another one of the sons, including having pure black eyes. I'm not talking like, oh, the pupils really wide to take in a whole lot of visuals. No, pure black. Which is a thing very in common with the Raven Guard, or the other super stealthy ones. And I think it was... What was the last one? Trying to remember... Yeah, okay, it's actually just those two. So they think that they're a mix of those. We think they're a mix of those two because of the super stealth and really strong brutality. But this is important because they are also a fleet-based chapter, which means they don't have a homeworld. They just exist as a fleet of ships going around to where they're needed. Including, the one I'm going to bring up, is they rocked up to a planet that was actively under siege with Space Marines on it. And in a very low, quiet voice, sent a message in, there's Low Gothic and High Gothic. High Gothic is common language. Low Gothic is the more formal, less used version of it. But they sent a message in a very low, or very calm, quiet, low Gothic of, hey, we understand you're under siege. We ask permission to assist in this fight. We understand if you don't trust us. We understand because this is a strange time for this to come happen. If you want, we can give you tests of our gene seed to show we are who we say we are. We can let you come investigate our tools and our weapons to see that we are ready and able to help you. All we ask is that when the fighting is over, we get a little bit of a tithing to help our numbers. And so they did that, and the people went, huh. Well, the gene seed checks out, the weapons and armor checks out, and we really need the help, so yeah, sure, you can come along. And then they proceeded to guerrilla warfare, rip people in half for the rest of the fucking battle, and it ended very quickly. Because I'm not sure about you, but if a 10-foot tall super soldier just kind of appeared and ripped my buddy in half with his bare hands, I would give up.
Honestly, fair.
I would just give up. And another one of my favorite things is their chapter master is a big motherfucker. A very large motherfucker. Like, cannot explain the size of this motherfucker. His name is Tiberos the Red Wake. He is the chapter master. He is in a ancient suit of Terminator armor, which Space Marines have Space Marine armor. Terminator is one step up from that. Its original name was the Tactical Dreadnought armor. Dreadnought armor is this person's nearly dead, so they put their coffin inside a giant death mech. And then, that's what a dreadnought is. Terminators are a smaller version of that for living people. There was a little like fake rumor going around a while ago that Tiberos was so big that he had actually custom fitted his Terminator armor with a dreadnought plate just to fit into it. That's not canon. It's a very funny headcanon though, and I love it because he's also, once again, incredibly fucking stealthy. So imagine, if you will, where the normal super soldiers are about 10 feet, this motherfucker's close to, or no, sorry, my mistake. Normal Space Marine are about 7 to 8 feet tall. Primarchs range from 10 to 12. Tiberos is about 9 feet tall. He's just under a Primarch size. He is massive. But he also is incredibly stealthy. And let me see if they have my favorite picture of Tiberos saved here. They do not. Let's see. Give me the image. Okay, there's 2 of them. Oh god, wait, there's 3 actually. I don't know if any of these are technically canon, but they're all awesome, so I'm sending you all 3. In order, we have the one I think is the coolest, and I debated on making it my wallpaper for a while. The one that I think probably gives off his like, the shark vibe the most for him. And the one that is my favorite image of him ever. Because he is just so large. He is so large. So we have like an action shot, of course. We have mid purge of the Tyranids, which are hive mind bugs that want to eat flesh to make more of them. But the last one's my favorite image because it just shows how large he is compared to normal Space Marine. And I need to specify, this man, I believe, technically has, is it just... No, okay. So, yeah, he just has melee weapons. And his melee weapons are called Hunger and Slake. They are power fists, which in this universe, a power fist is take a normal gauntlet, make it really thick, and let you put pure, like, electric energy into it to the point of where you could backhand someone and just make them 2D. he has custom-made ones that have giant claws on the front and a chainsaw in the palm. Now, that sounds terrifying by itself. Need to remind you, this is a stealthy motherfucker. So you could just be existing, defending wherever you are, or defending your little settlement of traders like the good defense guy you are. And then suddenly, from behind you, you hear chainsaws rev, and your buddy Phil is now mincemeat, and a power claw is coming directly for you before you even realize the motherfucker was there. It's horrifying, objectively, but it's so cool. There's also, I believe, recently, there was a mention of a separate... So, the Carcharodons are not well-liked, but they get along with most other chapters, except for one, the Raven Guard, which is really ironic. Or I think it's the Raven Guard. I can't remember. The thing I searched it up doesn't tell me where it is. But there's an offhanded mention from another chapter of Space Marines to Tyberos of them wanting their power claws back. So he may have just fucking robbed them from someone. Which is even funnier to me, cause oh yeah, big stealthy guy with chainsaw plasma claws, took those from someone else, and they have the absolute confidence to tell them that they want him back, which it makes sense. It's funny though. But I love the Carcharodons. The Space Sharks are also called the Carcharodons. Tyberos is great. I love them. And the fact that they're not pompous, but that kind of English, if it was to be in English, that kind of speaking of, it's someone could be, but is using just the right words in just the right way, in just the right tone. That's I want to be whatever you need me to be, and I will be as strong as I can for that. And I think that's awesome.
Dude.
Another thing that makes me really like them is, or not like them. Another thing that really makes me like the Imperium as a whole is actually is actually some of the heroes of the Imperium that get talked about. For example, I told you about Caiaphas Cain. There is another one called, what was it? Yes, Colonel Ironhand Strachan. Colonel Ironhand Strachan is from a planet known as Catachan. The best way to explain Catachan is take Australia. You know, how the plants hate you, the insects hate you,
the
animals hate you, the sky hates you, the air hates you, how everything just hates you.
Yeah.
Dial that up by like 10. That's Catachan.
Interesting. All right. Oh, hello there, alien. This is called Wobble Dogs.
Wobble Dog. But so, for example, there is a plant on Catachan that is straight up just a leaf that will fly down, grab onto your face, and suffocate you, and then use your body as fertilizer. There is another one that's just or there is an insect which is called the I think it's called the. I shit you not. I think it's called a deathpede. Oh no, it's called the Catachan Devil.
I'm doing well, alien. I'm doing well. I'm hanging out with Crick while she hyperfixates and.
I was given permission to go off, and I have not stopped in about an hour, or about 2.5 hours.
Yeah. And we've only been streaming an hour and 40 minutes, but it's been going for longer than that. But I love it. I always love hearing you go. Like, I genuinely enjoy hearing you go off.
You know what? I want you to see a Catachan Devil, but you're going to hate it, so I'm also going to spoil it so you never have to look at it again.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Appreciate.
I'm going to explain it horribly as the worst centipede you will ever imagine.
Oh, no.
And then looking at it, it is even worse than that.
Oh, my God.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Why is
It's a centipede with a scorpion tail and crab pincers. It's horrible.
And a Cthulhu-looking face. What is that?
Yeah, it's...
Oh, it's a squid mouth, because the squids have, the beaks.
Yeah.
It's a squid... What the fuck is happening?
Want to know the worst thing about that?
Oh my God, there's worse?
That is a consistent, constant thing that is... Here's a more recent version of it that's less gross. Or, like, less amalgamation, but still pretty bad. It's just a bad centipede that spits acid and can poison you badly. But it is also a thing that is seen as a rite of passage to kill for any Catachan guardsman. Including to the point where if you don't kill one, they will not send you off Catachan. If you are a guardsman and have not killed one, you are not leaving the planet.
I see.
Catachans are completely normal humans, by the way, but they are basically if you took Rambo and Arnold's character from the first Predator movie and made them one person. And that's every single one of them.
I'm gonna say something, and you're probably going to be really upset about it.
What?
I've never seen a single Predator movie.
That's fine. I've barely seen the first one. All you need to know is hyper tactical, basically Rambo, but they fight aliens.
Okay.
They are the strongest base human in all of 40k. Including the point, there are these weapons called bolters, which are the Space Marine's main weapon, and they are hardly seen in the Guard, for the sheer reason, bolters, without very, very good training, will not only shatter a normal human's arm, will also shatter the other arm holding the grip, the sternum holding the arms, and probably their spine from the recoil sending them back so hard. Catachans can just hip-fire the thing on full auto. They are strong motherfuckers. For example, back to Strachan, I got off topic for a while there. Colonel Iron Hand Strachan is a colonel of the Catachan. The reason he's called Iron Hand is because he used to just be Colonel Strachan. Until on a mission where he was. I can't. Let's see. Does this read what mission it is? Does this read it? Okay, no. This one doesn't word it. But basically, the way he got the nickname Iron Hand is because he was on a stealth mission on a planet with land sharks. You know, a shark on land. And he was like crawling through the underbrush to sneak up to this area. And one of the land sharks walked up and just bit his whole arm off.
Jesus.
A normal person would scream. My man just firmed it. Not a sound. I am talking about the universe of Warhammer 40k, or Warhammer 40,000. It is multiple games, multiple books, and multiple board games. It is... You know of it? Yeah, I'm talking about that. But, so he got bit by a land shark and just firmed it. Not a sound. Zero sound. I want to play it really bad. I want to play the tabletop. I have, like, probably not a full army, but a little bit of an army of Adeptus Sororitas. I will get into who they are later. Basically, to put it simply, in universe, Warhammer 40k says that you are not allowed men-at-arms. They are not men. Or they say that the church is not allowed to have men-at-arms. And the Adeptus Sororitas are not men. We'll get there. So Strachan firmed a shark bite and then killed the shark with his other hand that wasn't bitten off. And then while the medic was patching him up, he was using his uninjured arm to just throw grenades and was telling the medic to hurry up. Would like to reiterate, a land shark bit his whole arm off, and he's just throwing grenades and telling the medic to hurry up. It's insane. He's crazy. There is also we don't know if he actually exists. But there is a little bit of a... Oh no, he does exist, but he might not be as strong as people make him out to be. There is a character called Sly Marbo. Wild name, I know. How do I explain him? You know what? I'll just give you the very obvious bit of it. Sly Marbo is turned into Warhammer 40k's version of the Chuck Norris meme. Did I buy the video game? Which one? I have Warhammer 40k Dark Tide. I have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. I have Warhammer 40k Battle Sister, Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun, Warhammer 40k Gladius. I have the Horus Heresy Legions, which is a card game.
When we say it's her hyperfixation,
You don't understand.
the one that came out last year.
The one that came out Space Marine 2? Yes. I also have Tacticus, which is another one. I have so many of them. And I don't even have like a third of the games. There's so many games, actually. But so, Sly Marbo is basically the Chuck Norris meme for 40k. Like, you know all the you know all the Chuck Norris memes, probably. Like, oh, Chuck Norris once threw a grenade, killed 4 people, and then the grenade blew up. It's all that kind of stuff. Or it's like Chuck Norris sleeps with a pillow under his pistol kind of thing. Like, it's all that, but it's 40k, so he's just that. But he's also, if the name wasn't obvious, Sly Marbo is a reference to Rambo and Sylvester Stallone, the actor who played Rambo. Because it's Sly, which is Sylvester Stallone's like nickname is Sly, because it's SLY and Sylvester, but it makes sense. And Marbo is I believe the word is anagram when you swap the letters around in a word to make another one.
I think so.
I think so. Marbo is an anagram of Rambo. So he's the Chuck Norris bit and the bigger reference to Rambo. 90% long. Don't worry, it only gets worse.
Oh yeah, no. Trust me, here's the thing, and Crick knows this, because Crick has said a lot of these things multiple times to me. Here's the thing, I have ADHD, so about probably 45 minutes in, I stop being able to filter the information, and it just kind of just turns and it sounds really...
It just turns into fucking trumpet noises, and that's fine, because you're just letting me go, and I will go.
Because here's the thing, I like hearing it. I love hearing... The sound of your voice to me is amazing. I love the sound of your voice. I love your enthusiasm, the love you have for this, like, the information, like... And I do get some of the information and everything, so, like, it's not all lost, but it's just very soothing to me to listen to you rant.
I'm a very good talker. That's what I think nearly everyone in the server has said that I'm good at just talking.
Professional yapper.
Yeah, exactly, I am professional yapper. I was gonna say something and then I lost it. Oh, yeah, don't worry about being 90% lost. For example, there is one major point in the story called the Horus Heresy, which only matters to humanity, mostly. And it's the Emperor's favorite son is the one who had the vision of him being evil. It wasn't actually a vision of him being evil. It was a vision of what would happen if Horus, the favorite son, turned evil. But he wasn't shown that part, so he just thought, oh no, Dad's evil, and then swapped. AKA, he caused the vision. But that space human and grenade, that's all you need to know. I'm gonna be honest, you get it. Space human and grenade, that's it, yeah. But, like, let's see. How many books are in the Horus Heresy series? So this is, I believe it's 1,000 years. I think. No, sorry, my mistake. The Horus Heresy is 9 years. This 9-year span of human history only is 64 books long.
McFucking excuse me?
Yep. It is a 9-year span in human history, and it is 64 books long, with, like, I think a total of 8 of them being, like, a set story, and the rest of them how much depth do they need to write down? It isn't much depth. I'm gonna be honest. You don't get a whole lot of information. You get a decent amount of a main story, and then all the rest of it's side stuff. But the reason it's 64 is because the Horus Heresy is the actual Horus Heresy books, and then it's the Horus Heresy from this person's perspective, the Horus Heresy from this person's perspective, the Horus Heresy from XYZ, XYZ, and XYZ's, like, visions of it through doing this, or it's a book all about this. What's Horus Heresy? The Horus Heresy. Horus was the Emperor's favorite son. The Horus Heresy is when Horus went, man, I had a vision of my dad being evil in the future and, like, being worshipped as a god. I'm gonna fight against him. And then he inadvertently causes the vision he saw because he named his son Horus, like the Egyptian god. Which, I guess he didn't name him, thinking about it. It would be the adoptive father of Horus who named him that. All of them got names like that. Except Conrad Kurz, who I think named himself, which is very funny, because it's Conrad Kurz, who is cursed to see the worst future possible. Constantly. I could go into detail about just the Primarchs, because there is technically 18 of them. There's a total of 20. We know nothing about 2 of them except for the fact that they did something and got wiped from history. Not even like you can find history on them, but it's blacked out. No, there is not a paper on them. The only thing we know is that the other Primarchs knew them. Something happened, they're gone. One might be in eternal prison underneath the Emperor's main palace. That's it. That's all we know. But, you know what? I'm gonna go in order. Of how the Emperor found them. Being... Okay. Let's see. Okay, I can't really see it, so... I really wish this would load so I could see it easier. Oh, a whole thing seems to be lagging. Am I still here?
Yes.
Okay, my whole opera is lagging. That seems to be why everything's taking forever to load. Invested but still struggling with human lore. That checks out. Again, It's so confusing. Okay. So, in order of how the prime marks were found, technically, more recent lore has it so that one half of the twins that I will get to last was technically found first, but just wasn't announced until the other twin was found. But I'll get there. So in order of official, like how the Imperium said they found them, we have first found was Horus. Horus Lupercal was his full name. He got his shit rocked at the end of the heresy, so was. Then we have Leman Russ, who is Space Viking. Exactly what you think, Space Viking. Wait, what? Okay, this is weird. This shows the date of discovery, but it... Okay, so yes, in order. So Leman Russ was found second. We don't know anything. See, okay. That's a good question. However, you could change Imperium with any one of the factions and be correct. There is no good guy in 40k. Except, I guess, maybe the orcs. But that's because they aren't like, oh, we want to rule the galaxy. We want to do X, Y. No, the orcs are just there to knock someone's teeth out. And that's all they exist to do. They just want to punch a motherfucker. That's their whole existence.
Honestly,
and
valid of them.
ironically, they're the nicest ones. Like, they suck objectively. Every faction in 40k is the bad guy objectively. There was technically at one point a good guy, but then people were upset that the good guys were exactly that, the good guys, and then they changed the lore of them a little bit to make it so that the good guys were only good by technicality of being here the shortest time. They've been around a total of maybe 3,000 years. Humanity has been here at least 43,000. So, and the orcs, the Necrons, technically the Tyranids, and the Eldar have all been here longer. So the young, naive upstarts were the good guys, and then lore got changed because people were upset that they were just the good guys, and got made into the good guys are now mind-controlling, brainwash, like, mind control, brainwash, not dictatorship, but like...
Wild.
What's the government style where if you're born into one thing, you're forced into that one thing and you can't leave it no matter what, and you kind of...
Fuck,
if you
a
try
caste
moving
system.
out of it, you... Yes! Exactly that!
I was like, no, I know this answer.
Thank you. Exactly that. It's straight up called that. It is, I shit you not, Earth Caste, Water Caste, Fire Caste, Air Caste, and the Ethereals.
Of course.
The Ethereals are the brainwashing leaders. Fire Caste is the warriors, Earth Caste is the engineers, Water Caste is the diplomats, Air Caste is drone pilots and like fighter pilots. So yes, they are a caste system of brainwashing, mind control, weird pheromone shit, amphibians that are not trying to take over the universe, but trying to bring everyone under them, kind of thing. So they went from the good guys to that. So there isn't technically a good guy anymore. Back to the Primarchs. So it was Horus, Russ. Don't know anything about the third one. He's one of the ones who was wiped from history Not a paper on the motherfucker. There was Ferrus Manus. Believe it or not, Ferrus Manus is leader of the Iron Hands. You know. Ferrus. If I remember right, I think Ferrus Manus straight up translates to Iron Hand. 1 second. I'm gonna check that. Yes, Ferrus Manus, translated from Latin to English, straight up is Iron Hand. He is the leader of the Iron Hands. Warhammer 3 is, I think Warhammer 3 Total War is fantasy, which is a separate universe with the same, gods. Or similar gods. Technically, they're not one-to-one. They're very close. They're so close to one-to-one, but technically they aren't. Double check. Yeah. Well, if Steam would let. Yeah. Total War is fantasy. Different universe, parallel, basically. It used to be the lore was, that fantasy took place on one planet inside of 40k that was in a constant warp storm. Warp storms are basically hell sent a thunderstorm directly to you and it's fucking with your existence. That was what the lore originally was, and then they changed it to where 40k was an alternate universe inside of a wizard tower, inside of a little, like, contained dimension bottle, and then they just fully made them two separate universes. It's very neat. Anyways, moving on. Next, we have Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children. The second part of that name is ironic, because I do not doubt that they don't. Remember the people I said made drugs out of adrenal glands? That's the Emperor's Children. Then we have Vulcan, Primarch of the Salamanders. I went on a whole spiel about him. We have Dorn, my second favorite. He is a man who cannot lie. I'm not meaning cannot lie as in hasn't ever lied. I mean it is physically impossible for him, because of how the warp affected his soul, to lie.
Interesting.
He is also the most straightforward of the Primarchs. 1 sec. He rolls with, where are they? The Imperial Fists. The Imperial Fists are the best siege people. Or are they? No, not siege. They are the best defense people. They are, if you want to hold a wall, you put, yes, the wizard is basically playing a D&D game. But the Imperial Fists are the people you want on your side if you want the most reinforced wall you could fucking get. They happen to have a lot of issues with someone we'll get to later down the line. Then we have Sanguinius, the perfect boy. Okay, basically the vampire stand-in. Oh, that's fair. You enjoy your sleep. Sanguinius is the perfect boy. He is the vampire stand-in, so he is so hot. So hot. Like, you don't understand. It is. He was incredibly nice to everyone and was super hot. Including, he straight up had angel wings. Because, like, each of the Primarchs, when they got separated from the Emperor, they were kind of tossed out into the warp. Warhammer is very nice. I'm glad you will be looking into it. But say, like, straight up angel wings, just the hottest, and, like, consistently did art. And, like, sculpting and, like, chiseling with marble. He was the vampire stand-in and was the perfect boy. Including, when he died, even the other races that hated humans mourned him for a little bit because he was loved by literally everyone. Like, it was crazy. Perfect man was overlooking the Blood Angels, who had something called the Red Thirst, which is basically they would go insane and get very aggressive and deadly. And then he died, and then it turned into the Black Rage, which is the worst version of it, where they see themselves. Quickfire, the way Sanguinius died is he died fighting Horus to buy the Emperor time to get there. So what the Red Thirst was it was just a very aggressive, very brutal moment of them. The Black Rage it's the same thing as the Red Thirst, except they see themselves on the ship as Horus just killed Sanguinius. So they really get brutal. Then we have the Lion. I don't think we have an actual name. He's just... No. His name is Lionel Johnson. He is just known as the Lion to most people. So you remember how I mentioned Space Viking earlier?
Mm-hmm.
We had Space Viking. Now we have fucking Space Knight. Like, I'm talking Knights of the Round Table kind of knight. And these two go hand in hand because Russ is called the Emperor's Executioner because he's the one that gets sent if the Emperor wanted someone dead and wanted it public. The Lion is who he sent if he wanted someone dead and didn't want it public. And they are basically two sides of the same coin, because Russ plays the barbaric fool. He plays the Viking. He is there for the fight, for the blood, for the mead after the stories to tell. He is the barbarian. But realistically, or not realistically, but actually, he is a very sophisticated, calm man who puts on that face of the barbarian. The Lion is exactly the opposite. He puts on the face of the super composed, very, very high and mighty knight. He is a beast, and not in the super strong, super powerful way. I mean beast as in very good at hiding it, but frothing at the mouth just to kill someone if they fuck up.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they're neat. Then we find, everyone calls him Purdy, but his name is Perturabo. You can see why everyone calls him Purdy, I bet. We don't know his last name, but it's just Perturabo. He's leader of the Iron Warriors. He's the other half of the coin that Dorn is, where Dorn's all defense, Purdy's all siege. There was a joke between them for a while, where if you put Dorn and Purdy on the same side, everything would get done instantly. Everything's defended. Everything they need sieged is sieged. But if you put them against each other with no outside help, it would be an infinite, never-ending fight. Because the Imperial Fists and Dorn would constantly be upgrading their defenses and getting everything reinforced. And Purdy and his Iron Warriors would constantly be getting more and more siege weapons and munitions to be able to fight for longer. Perturabo also has joint pain in his spine for the amount of incredibly hard carrying he did for the entire Horus Heresy. You don't understand? Perturabo is the only reason it went even slightly well. And Horus died at the end, so... Like, it's insane. Or not the entire Horus Heresy, rather. The entire siege of Terra. Terra is what they call Earth. What do you know? Terra is where the Emperor had his palace. And that's where the siege happened. The entirety of the siege was basically just Perturabo being a leader and doing siege things. It was Angron trying his best not to get killed and kill everything at the same time. It was Conrad not being there. Because I think at this point he was dead. And it was all the rest of them just sucking at their jobs. And so eventually Perturabo realized that they weren't winning the fight when Angron, who's now a demon at this point, dies. A Mortarion gets wounded and has to flee. Horus just turned off his ship's shield and is letting the Emperor get onto it to fight him by himself. So he just went, fuck it, I've done everything I can for this siege, I'm fucking leaving, and just walks away. Then we have Mortarion, who is called Morty by most of the community. Mortarion is the, at this point, grossest motherfucker that used to be human. He worships Nurgle. Nurgle is the physical embodiment of I love you for who you are, but it's also including diseases. And so it's I love you for who you are, but don't wipe, don't wash your hands. In fact, shit in them and clap just once, and never wash them again.
Yep.
And then keep that going constantly, every single time. He is the grossest motherfucker in all of existence, and Mortarion worships him, not by his own volition off at first. The way it first happened was Mortarion was a traitor. He also did not take much convincing to be traitor. He's a whole different thing. He really hated his adopted father, which is fair, because he landed on a planet where if you were in the lower slums of a mountain, you were seen as a slave and weak. If you lived on the higher part of the mountain, you didn't. All the people on the higher part of the mountain were super strong psychers, and they had a constant ice storm that would rip you to shreds if you tried climbing the mountain. And Mortarion's dad really didn't like him. And so Mortarion tried fighting his way up the mountain, failed once, got sent back down, healed up, and then the Emperor showed up and was like, hey, you're my son, I'm taking you with me. And Mortarion was like, no, I'm not leaving until I kill that guy, and until I kill my adoptive dad. And the Emperor was like, okay, I'll give you a challenge. We'll both climb up the mountain, and whoever kills him first pledges their loyalty to the other. And Mortarion, who was way too cocky for having just lost climbing up the mountain, was like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. I'll go, you watch. You sit here and you watch. And he climbs up the mountain, nearly dies. The Emperor walks up, protects him from dying, and goes, shh, child. You better be ready to pledge your loyalty. And walks into Mortarion's adoptive dad's house and obliterates the guy and walks out. And so Mortarion was like, I just swapped one slaver for another. And he wasn't entirely wrong. And so he comes back down. Ruh-roh. He serves him. He hates psychers. Fucking hates psychers. His dad was a psycher, and everyone that was in charge, everyone who ruled over the people who were counted as slaves were chargers, or were psychers, So it's a whole lot of thing. So he hates psychers, but one of his best lieutenants was a psyker, but hid it because he knew his dad really hated psychers, or he knew Mortarion really hated psychers. So he was like, I'm gonna keep it hidden. I'm gonna keep it on the down low. And then, he found a moment. Oh, did that guy just fucking die?
Oh yeah, when the dogs die, they just turn into bits and pieces, and then the rest of the dogs kind of just fucking eat
Interesting.
them.
Interesting. This guy found the perfect moment as they were flying to Terra to help with the siege. He went, man, you know, I got psychic powers. And I've seen some really neat things done by certain things that are psycherish.
Sorry, this dog is so stupid. Let me do it for you. Let me do it for you. I'm sorry. Okay.
And so, no, it's fine. I find it incredibly funny. And then, so this guy was like, I could probably do something neat. Because he'd been in contact with Nurgle for a while now, and this guy was also just gross. So he did the one thing he thought he could do to get Mortarion to A, accept him for his psyker abilities, and B, also make it so that he... so that he could get some of the blessings of Nurgle. And so what he did is he snuck into the Navigator's room. The Navigators are psychers that can see the Emperor's bright-ass beam through hell and can navigate the ship through it. So what he did was he entered that room and was like, okay, started the plan and killed all of them. And then he walked up to Mortarion and was like, hey, so I found out all the Navigators were loyalists and were actually just going to crash us into a star so we would all die. But I have psyker abilities. You can trust me. I'll get us to Terra. And Mortarion was like, well, I don't like that you killed all of them. But if they were going to crash us into a star, I understand why you did it. So I guess you can leave. Sure. And so... And so this guy then would lead them, not to Terra first, but instead directly into a warp storm where Nurgle himself got onto the ship, released an infectious disease that would melt the skin and armor off of the Space Marines and Mortarion, who wasn't in as much pain as the rest of his group, as the rest of his little boys that were under him, because he was a Primarch, so he had a much better pain resilience and healing factor. The Space Marines did not. So imagine, if you will, someone who did deeply care for his sons, being forced to sit there and watch as he could feel his own skin dissolving and healing quickly while the sickness attempted to get at his organs and melt them, while his sons screamed in pain from the thing he felt stopping itself from happening to all of them. He made a deal very quickly to stop the pain in his sons. But the deal was to make all of them worship Nurgle. And then Nurgle went, wow, you know what? You did great. Talking to the guy who navigated them into the warp storm, and was like, you did great. You're gonna have this, and sent a little plague demon to follow him, which was just a giant beehive. And then the guy walked up to Mortarion and was like, ha, you fell for my trick. I can't believe you would do this. And so Mortarion bitch slapped him so hard he fucking died. And then the demon went, you know what? That's free real estate. And snuck into the body and stood back up and said, hey, I'm in the body now. Fuck you, you're goofy. So Mortarion bitch slapped him so hard he died again. And then Nurgle went, the plan is complete, the ritual is done, and raised them as one being, and that's how we got, I forget his full name. Let me find out. It is... Typhus. It is... The full name is... Where's the full name? Yes, there it is. It is Typhus, Herald of the Destroyer Hive. The reason he's called this is because imagine, if you will for a moment, a person whose body is basically a beehive of little flies that vary in size because they're demons, that either will dig into your skin and then instantly decay you, or will pick at you like carnivorous bees. He's gross.
I don't want to imagine that. That's a horrible
That's fair.
thing to
I don't
imagine.
blame you. By the way, we still have 7 more to go through. After Mortarion, we have Lorgar. Remember the person I said who was saying the Emperor was a god?
Mm.
That's Lorgar. Lorgar was doing that because he grew up on a planet that was worshipping the Chaos Gods, but without knowing they were Chaos Gods, and there's 4 Chaos Gods. So I think they were called the 4-tipped wheel or something like that. And they worshipped that. But Lorgar grew up knowing that there was a 5th one. There was a 5th golden god who could see or who could overpower the other 4, and he was the leader of them. He was better than them. He knew it. And then the Emperor showed up, and Lorgar went, "Holy shit, that's him! That's him! That's him! Like that's the guy!
That's the guy, Tam.
That is him!" And Emperor went, "Fuck you say?"
The fuck you talking? What?
And then all that happened. Lorgar is neat. He's a little fucked up. Everyone, even people who are hardcore Trader fans, hate one guy from Lorgar's Legion called the Word Bearers.
Mm-hmm.
His name's fucking Erebus. Everyone hates him.
Why?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you how he got the name Erebus. Erebus was not his original name.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we don't know his original name. All we know is that he grew up a little shitlin of a kid.
Yeah.
I'm talking like he's the kind of kid to walk out with a magnifying glass and burn ants alive. Okay? And
bad.
then his parents are like, "Man, why can't you be more like the neighbor kid, Erebus? He's got great grades in school. He's loved by the community. He's going places, that kid." And Erebus went, "Huh. Be more like the neighbor kid. Huh." And so he went and killed the neighbor kid, cut off his face, and wore it as his own.
Ew.
And took the name Erebus.
Oh. Well, I'll be damned.
And that's just as a kid. He kept that shit up well into being a Space Marine and then a Trader Space Marine. He sucks. Everyone hates him. And even hardcore, like, Trader fans hate him. Because he just sucks. Like, he just sucks. He's the reason Horus had that vision of the future that he caused, because he fully worshipped the Chaos Gods the entire time, even while serving under Lorgar, who was still worshipping the Emperor at that time. And then once the emperor burnt down basically Lorgar's Jerusalem, he was like, "Hey, there happens to be 4 gods that would take you willingly. You just follow me."
Come with me, and you'll
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
a world of
There
obliteration.
is there is one, we're not two quite yet. There's one of Engron's people. His name's Karn, which is hilarious because Karn is a part of the world eaters who worship corn. He is a total of 2 letters off the god he worships. He is also incredibly terrifying because Korn's like motto is blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne, right?
Mm-mm.
And so Korn loves fighting and has a pile of skulls he turns into a throne. It is said that Karn has a special pile of just the skulls he's gotten.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a lot. I bring this up because Erebus manipulates one of Karn's best friends into dying. And Karn finds this out later, and the word bearers have this thing where they will fight each other because they have the brain nails that eat their brains if they're not incredibly angry 24/7. He finds this out and he's not very happy. And so he orders, not challenges, orders Erebus into this fight.
Damn.
And normally they fight till first blood, which is the first cut that makes a good amount of bleeding on a soldier or on one of the Space Marines. He did not order that. He ordered it to last blood, which is to the death. And so he knocks Erebus down and gets first blood, and Erebus is like, "Hey, fine, you won. Can we end this?" And Korn just goes, "Get up." Erebus stands up and tries to tell him again that, "Hey, you got first blood. We're done." And then he beats him again, back down to the floor, and once again goes, "Get up."
Up. What?
He stands up, beats him again, goes, "Get up." And Erebus stands up, sees him about to get killed, and then warps away because he's a bitch and a coward. We hate Erebus. No one likes Erebus. If I recall, even the Chaos Gods that he worships don't like Erebus. Because, I need to reiterate, he worships all 4 Chaos Gods. Karn just worships Korn, and if I recall, it was stated Erebus could feel Korn backing up Karn as he was getting his shit rocked. So even one of the gods he worshipped was like, "You don't fuck with my mans."
You don't fuck.
You just don't fuck with my mans.
So funny.
There is 6 more, but I am out of water and my throat's getting dry, so I'm gonna go refill water. I will be right back.
Okay.
All right, I returned. Sorry that took longer than I thought. I was in the process of filling up my water, and I was like, man, I'm hungry, so I made me some Nutella toast.
You are good. No problem.
Time to continue. uh, up next is, if to catch everyone up, because I don't know who's all watching. We last ended with Lorgar, aka, or no, technically we ended with Erebus, because we fucking hate Erebus. But last Primarch we covered was Lorgar, who was the one who worshipped the Emperor as a god. Then we have the Khan, the Primarch of the White Scars. Best way to describe the White Scars, you know the term, gotta go fast.
Yippee.
That's all of them. That's literally all of them. Their whole thing is go fast, hit hard, and don't be there when they can fight back. So it's a whole lot. Like, they have speed bikes, or I think that they're called jet bikes. They are incredibly fast Space Marine sized motorcycles that run on jet engines. So they go incredibly fast. Khan himself, or Jagatai Khan as his full name is incredibly fast, including the point where he was very close to a lot of the people in the White Scars. because he the way he ruled his area was like how how Genghis Khan and the Mongolians did. Of if you are stronger, you overtake them. If they willingly serve under you after, they live. If not, they die. All that kind of stuff. So all the people that he worked with, he was very close to. Because either people that willingly worked with him because they saw he was a good leader and was powerful, or it was people who were already under him when he started expanding. This is important because there were some orcs that happened to kill one of the people he was very close to. This does not end out well for them, as the Khan orders every single one of his White Scars that were in the fight to cease fire, back away.
Oh no.
All of them did so, and the Khan basically tapped into the Speed Force and was moving faster than even their superhuman eyes could see, or the processors in their helmet that highlights people.
Damn.
There were a lot of orcs. There was no orcs when his anger was done. He's also kind of just a fucking Chad. Gonna be honest, we love the Khan. The White Scars in general are super cool. I'm trying to remember what it was. He's a really... Oh, there was a moment in the Heresy where the Khan was watching the Dark Angels, which is Lionel Johnson's legion, fight, I believe it was... I just realized I skipped 2. We'll have to go back. So he was seeing some of the traitors fight some of the loyalists, but this was at a point where all communications were cut off, so Jagatai didn't know which side was good, which side was bad. And so, the way he handled it was both of them contacted him and was like, hey, we need your help, fight for us. And the Khan just went, I don't have any information on who's still loyal. Fuck both of you. And just shut off their comms. He was like, I don't know who's on my side here. So, fuck off. Just shut them off.
Damn.
There was also a moment. You remember Fulgrim earlier? I really brushed past Fulgrim. Because I really just dipped into the post-heresy version of him. Pre-heresy, where Sanguinius was the perfect boy and just, oh my god, he was beautiful. Fulgrim was the physical embodiment of perfection. He perfectly styled hair, perfectly polished armor, perfectly good at fencing, perfect as a person. He was also very charismatic. That's how his legion got the name Emperor's Children. His legion was also the only one that was able to bear the Emperor's Aquila specifically. All the other ones had to do the Imperium's Aquila, which is different than the Emperor's Aquila. Well, there was a moment where it was just a short little quip between Fulgrim and the Khan, because the Khan took no shit. Just baseline. He took none of it, dealt all of it. Or rather, not took it. He could take it, he dealt it back harder. So, Fulgrim walked up and was basically like, "Hey, I heard you really like your speed and your jet bikes. In fact, I've heard you do some weird things to your jet bikes." And the Khan, with no hesitation, responded with, "I hear you do weird things to your soldiers."
Ooh. Oh.
Oh. Damn. Yeah, bro walked up, basically got a like dueling glove slap, and just backhanded the guy. Just zero hesitation. Got hit, dealt it back worse. Oh, it was. We love Jagatai Khan. He's great. The White Scars also in general are great. The White Scars have a thing. The reason they're called the White Scars is because they have like, I can't remember what they call them, but basically when they join the White Scars, they start a scar on their chest. And every time they succeed a battle, they will, or in the middle of a battle, or like just before it, they will cut a new, like a fresh new cut on their chest. And if they win the battle, they will let it heal normally, so it turns into a white scar. If they fail the battle, they will shove dirt into the wound so that it heals black instead. And so it's a literal, like, scarred story of their battles of, oh, I won this one, I won this fight, I won this fight, I lost this one, but won the next one to come back. And it's literally a trail of their fights and their wins and their losses. It's very cool. Jumping back to the two I missed, right after Dorn, we actually have Rabute Gilliman, or Robot Girly Man, or Robot Gorilla Man, or whatever else you want to. Some people call him Bobby G. This is the brother that Vulcan teleported into the fucking orbit of, and then crashed into his backyard. He is the physical embodiment of a pencil pusher. He is all about logistics. It is like, okay, where every other Primarch took over the planet they landed on, Rabute landed, or Gilliman as everyone normally calls him. It's either Bobby G, pronouncing his name just completely incorrectly, or Gilliman. He landed on the main planet in a subsection of the Imperium, and the name of the planet was Macragge. He landed and was adopted by the leader of Macragge, and Macragge had a very like Greek Roman-esque vibe going on, where it was like, it was a senate with one leader, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean. Like, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, there is the leader, a senate of voters that talk with the leader, and then nobles and people under them. He landed and was adopted by the leader of Macragge. He was raised up to take over for him, and then when some people tried killing Rabute's father and taking over, they succeeded in killing his father. Did not succeed in taking over, because his father basically said, I believe that you can take over for me. I believe you will be a better leader than I will. And was just the best father out of all of them, except maybe Vulcan.
That's really cute.
Actually, to be fair, a lot of the loyalists had good fathers. But, like, Rabute had probably the best. And so, once his father died, I think it was...
leg. Why you got that stanky leg?
What are you doing? What is he doing?
He got that stanky leg. What are you doing? You good, buddy? Do you do that when you... No, okay, it was just a weird glitch. I don't know what the fuck happened there.
That's weird.
That was really funny.
If I recall, I think Rabute's father's last words were like, hey, protect your mom, kind of thing. And so he did, and he protected his mom very well by killing all the people trying to succeed. Again, need to reiterate, this is like a 10 to 11 foot tall super soldier, just minus the special armor. He could still very easily kill everyone in my town, I think. But he was very good at all that. He took, after taking over for his father and ending the succession, he continued to push the bounds of Macragge until they eventually started prospering on other planets, or making trade deals with other ones that already had people on them, and then making connections and connecting all these different worlds together with different, like, planet trade, or like space trains and things like that, and just connecting this whole area together until he had like 7 planets under him, and he just called it Ultramar. So where everyone else had 1 planet that they were technically leading, he just had like 7 or 8 by the time the Emperor showed up. And the Emperor showed up and was like, damn, this is better than what I got set up.
Damn, boy.
Yeah, just, whoa. God damn, alright. He's actually also currently technically in charge of the Imperium. So the Emperor's dead, right? I've made that semi-clear. The Emperor fucking dies. Or, not dies. Nearly dies. They put him on a chair that makes him a skeleton, constantly sending up a Minecraft beacon through hell. And Mortarion had wounded him grievously before, so for a while there was basically just like 7 people in charge of the whole Imperium, and it was not going well. And then a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, or the Cult Mechanicus, who ironically is loyalist, but every loyalist Mechanicus member is like, don't you do it, because unlike all of them who believe that all knowledge is already out there, we just need to find it, he goes, that's stupid, I'm gonna innovate. Look at this, brand new Space Marines that are stronger than the old ones, and they all went, that sounds like heresy, but we're losing bad, so we'll take them. But with the help of him, and another subsection of the Eldar, who I can't remember the name of right now, but basically they worship a rebirthed god of death, was like, hey, we can bring back Guilliman if you trust us. And they didn't. But they were like, we don't really have much of a choice, so we're gonna try to get him alive, and if it doesn't work, we'll do your thing. And then they do their thing. And Guilliman, the way to describe it, they made a custom suit of armor for him that would, because he had a very bad wound from Mortarion, who had a scythe from Nurgle. So I need you to imagine just the grossest scythe possible, stabbing Guilliman. So it was just bad, and then it nearly killed him anyways, just off the diseases alone. And the stab was really well placed, so he was dead and put in a cryo chamber for a while, basically on the verge of dying. They made a custom set of armor that would keep him alive while it was on, but to properly get it set up, they had to fully kill him, and then the suit would activate and bring him back. Now, I don't know about you, but I can see why some members of the Imperium didn't exactly trust that he would come back. So luckily, it does go through, and he is brought back to life. And then he immediately basically runs a coup and dethrones like 4 of the 7 people who are running the Imperium, because they all weren't really doing it for mankind's greatest wants. They just kind of were doing it because they were like, damn, I really like money. It's pretty good. And so he immediately cooed 4 of them and had all of them like either de-seated or just straight up killed. And now he's running the Imperium and is hating it. He is so depressed. it's kind of funny how sad he is. It's horrible. It's horrible. He has all the rights to feel this way. It's a little funny with how much of a shit stick he got dealt. For example, he was alive. He was one of the people there who burned down the Jerusalem of Lorgar. And then he comes back from death to see that everything Lorgar was teaching is just out there now. That's just the basic thing, and if you don't agree with it, you get shot in the street. Like, and he can't just say, now my father didn't want that because of the fact that the traitor legions exist and are semi-known about. Because if he goes, well, my father wouldn't want that, all of the fucking ecclesiarchy and Inquisition look at him and go, are you a fucking traitor? We will get your ass, are you a traitor? So he can't exactly tell him no.
Wild.
So that he's so sad, but it's kind of funny with how much shit he has to deal with now, including the fact he back before he nearly died was known to be a very funny man. Actually, he had a lot of jokes, but he was not remembered for having jokes. And so when he's in this giant suit of armor that's keeping him alive, he can't pick up a pencil right. So he goes to grab it, knocks it to the floor, goes to pick it up off the floor and can't because of the big ass fingers on the armor gauntlet. And he makes a joke of like, the bane of my existence, papers and pencils. And one of his sons who is nearby is like, are you being serious, sir? And he just goes, please God, learn to joke. I was known for them. Please. And he's like, you weren't in the history books known for joking often, sir. It's very funny.
That is very funny.
After Gilliman, we have Magnus, who is the one that got dealt the worst hand actively, but not passively. He had a pretty good hand passively. He was a strong psyker. In fact, when he got separated, he had basically a direct contact line to the Emperor the whole time. Because before he got pulled away and thrown out into space, he already had enough psychic power to talk to the Emperor while he was still basically a child. Or like, not even a child, like a baby, maybe technically a fetus kind of thing. And then he got separated, and he kept that connection line. So him and the Emperor were talking the entire time while he was growing up and they were missing. While he was finding the rest of them. So he finds 8 before him, and Magnus, during this time, greatly learns of the psychic powers he has, and is telling his father about them as he grows in more power and learns more about them. And the Emperor is like, okay, hey, powers are nice. Don't dig too deep in where you get them from. It's a very dangerous, possibly incredibly deadly area to look into. So Magnus is like, okay, I won't go actively looking. And the Emperor is like, if that's all I can get you to do for now, that's fine. I'd prefer if you just didn't look at it at all. But Magnus's adoptive father, yeah, avoid it at all costs. It's kind of because the Emperor just didn't want to teach about chaos, because he's fucking stupid. I want you to think of something for me. The 4 Chaos Gods, they get worshipped from fucking anything, basically. Like, a lot of things worship the Chaos Gods. But they are told about, or if you are not told about something, and your life sucks, and it's just bad, and it's just the worst, you're in constant fighting, it's been a sluggish war, and you don't know about that, and you hear something be like, hey, I can make you fight a little better if you just promise to worship me. I can make sure you get out of this next fight. I can make sure that you get the most kills so you get that extra ration. I can do all these things for you. You just gotta worship me. It'd be really easy for you to just kind of slip into chaos without realizing it. But if you were told, hey, there's a murder death god that'll attempt to get you on its side, And if you follow it, you have a very high chance of being turned into a chaos spawn, which is just a giant white glob of flesh, teeth, and a giant eye with tentacles everywhere that is in constant pain. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't
You'll
do
have
that.
a hell of a lot less of a chance. The Emperor didn't believe that and just didn't say anything.
Why wouldn't you just say something?
There's so many bad decisions. So many bad decisions on this part.
I feel like if you would explain that, he'd be like, yeah, fuck, I don't want that at all.
Yeah. I also fully believe that because of the sheer fact that the Emperor was so secretive, it's the only reason Magnus is a traitor. Because, like, okay, so Magnus is a super powerful psyker. He does crazy stuff, or he grows up, learns more, gets more powerful, and then continues to have deals like that, or continues to look into it behind the Emperor's back. Because he wasn't told of the dangers of it, he was just told, it's dangerous. And that's it. But eventually, there is a big thing that happens. I can't remember exactly what it is, but there's a whole thing that leads to basically a court meeting of Magnus trying to be like, hey, I understand you want to get rid of all psychers. We shouldn't do this because the psycher's abilities are incredibly helpful and does a whole spiel, and some of them agree, some of them don't, and that's how we get librarians, which are a set type of Space Marine unit, which are designated, incredibly trained, highly watched psychers. So that happens. I don't know a whole lot about Magnus up until the thing I'm about to cover, which is Magnus immediately finds out that Erebus turned Horus traitor. Like, he is trying to contact Horus and get him to stay here, and then he realizes that Erebus showed him that and got him to turn traitor, and he's like, oh god, I gotta go tell Dad. So he goes and astral projects into the Emperor's palace. This normally wouldn't be an issue. However, the Emperor is a secretive fucking idiot who has a super secret project going on that any amount of mental tampering could immediately damage it. And by damage it, I mean Magnus interacted with it mentally, shattered the only barrier, and then hundreds of demons are now funneling out of a portal outside the back of the Golden Throne permanently. So there's just a direct portal for demons to run through, and they're constantly being stabbed as they run through. Permanently. The Emperor got the message and said, well, I don't know about you, but my favorite son, I don't believe, would go traitor, and instead, I believe that you, Magnus, the one who broke my super secret shield on my super secret project, are actually the traitor. And so he was kind of forced to be a traitor. Because it was just, that happened, and originally, the order was from the Emperor to the Space Wolves, you know, the Space Vikings, to, hey, go capture Magnus and bring him to me for a trial. Horus, who is a traitor, intercepted that and was like, hey, small change of plans from Dad. You're just gonna kill him. And Russ, who thought about questioning it for a moment, was like, well, it is Horus. There wouldn't be a reason to lie.
That is
Dad said to kill him. Fuck, guess I gotta kill him. And so he rocks up to Magnus's planet and just starts murdering them. And Magnus had ordered his sons and Space Marines to stand down. Because he realized, hey, I fucked up. I deserve whatever happening to me. And, well, what was going to happen to him was a fair trial. But then Horus happened. And took him in and, did the traitor thing of twisting it. And then during it's called the burning of Prospero. Prospero is the planet that Magnus landed on. During that, Magnus realized, hey, wait a minute. They're kind of killing a lot of my sons. My sons didn't deserve this. And so he starts fighting back. Not a whole lot, just kind of like stopping their barrages in certain areas, moving away units from others that are about to get ran at, that kind of stuff. And then they start just killing the civilians. And that's when he loses it and goes fully into psychic might mode and is just ruining them. I'm talking like he looks at a group of space wolves and they immediately turn to dust from a lightning strike. He is an incredibly strong psyker. I cannot say this enough. Like, the Golden Throne is where the Emperor got set after he was, stabbed and nearly dying, and that's how he's sending up the constant beacon into hell. Magnus, it's said that Magnus was grown to be the one to sit in the throne. Because you need immense psychic power to even slightly last on it. But that was what happened with him. And then he goes all in on the psychic powers, makes a deal, loses an eye, makes a deal to save his sons from something called the Flesh Change, which is basically they were turning into Chaos Spawns in their armor, and it was very bad. So he made a deal to a Chaos God without knowing it was a Chaos God. It took one of his eyes, and suddenly they were cured of the Flesh Change up until the Burning of Prospero, where he got really into the magic and broke that deal. Not actively, he just kind of restarted the Flesh Change, and so they started once again becoming the weird Chaos Spawns. And then way down the line, one of his sons makes a stupid deal, gets a book, does a stupid ritual, and then turns so many of the Thousand Sons, yes, they're called the Thousand Sons, which, ironically, they were reduced to 1,000 people multiple times. But turns most of them into dust in their armor. And currently, he is a demon prince to the guy he made the deal to get rid of his eye to stop the Flesh Change. Now, back to where we were. Right after the con, we have Conrad, who we've already talked about. You know, the constant seed, worst future, murder, death, gangster planet. After Conrad, we have Angron, who I've also covered. He's the one with the brain-eating anger nails. Then we have Corvus Corax. Yes, it's a bird pun. He's leader of the Raven Guard, who are the stealthiest motherfuckers in all of existence. They're the ones that I mentioned earlier with the space sharks. He has the full black eyes, super pale skin, really long black hair. The whole bit is stealth flight, basically. I don't know much about him, so sadly I can't cover too much. But I do know that Lorgar slipped into the warp for a while to attempt to hide after the heresy. And Corvus went, "You ain't getting away that easy, you motherfucker," and rocked in and basically turned into a giant demon bird and has been circling Lorgar's tower for centuries. And Lorgar's missing, but so is the birds that were circling his tower. So the demon raven is probably out hunting for the demon Lorgar.
Fantastic.
Number 19 is another one of the redacted ones, just wiped from history. And now we get to the unique twins I was talking about. We have Alfarius and Omegon. Technically, lore-wise now, Alfarius was the first one found, but was kept secret until Omegon was found. Because Alfarius landed on Earth.
He's a good boy. My good boy.
I heard the purrs on the mic for a second.
Hey, a very good boy. You gonna say hi? You wanna say hi to everybody? No. No, okay. Sorry, guys. He doesn't want to say hi. He just want to purr. Buddy. You can lay down. That's fine. No? Okay. He doesn't know what he wants to do.
So
Lots of
Alfarius
fuck
and
around.
Omegon. So Alfarius was technically the first one found, but was kept secret until Omegon was found last. Because Alfarius and Omegon are the sneaky ones. Like, so each Primarch has like a special thing about them. Like, Horus was really good at tactics, or like war tactics and maneuvering mid-fight, that kind of stuff. Russ is really good at like big barbaric attacks. Manus was really good at forging and statistics. Fulgrim was really good at being perfect at everything, kind of. Vulcan was really good at forging and being the human side. Dorn was good at defense. Gilliman was like the logical side of things, all that kind of stuff. Alfarius and Omegon are the hidden secret agents, almost, of this. Because their special little ability is that if they give someone with their gene seed a little bit of their blood to drink, their face morphs to look more like a Primarch. And these Primarchs are about the same size as a normal Space Marine. So they are much smaller than the rest, but it's because it's much easier to sneak in with that. One of them's dead, one of them's alive. The Alpha Legion are currently really weird, and it's too much to attempt to explain the Alpha Legion, and I'm gonna be honest, I've been going for about 4.5 hours on this. I'm just realizing that.
Listen, I'm happy for you to just keep going. I like listening.
I would love to keep going. I realized it's 5:19 a.m. and my brain is going bimmed.
No, I get it. You should definitely get some fucking sleep.
I should. I'll try to sleep.
I should probably stop streaming and do a couple of things and then also get some rest.
Thanks for letting me hang out and yap for 4 hours.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out and yapping. I will hang out. We'll have to play a game sometime soon.
Yes.
Yes. Alrighty, you. Go get some sleep.
Yes.
Good night. I'm also gonna go ahead and go to sleep, guys. Or at least I'm gonna get off stream and then probably get ready to go get some sleep. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Love you guys. See you next time.